As we deal with yet another variant, yet more restrictions on our lives, mass hysteria, more deaths, the possibility of another lockdown, an economic battering, and all the other knock-on effects of coronavirus, I think it's worth taking a moment to think about where this all started. And I personally have come to the conclusion that I think it started in a laboratory in Wuhan, in China. But of course, that is disputed. And not only that, though, it looks as though it may have been genetically engineered. Harvard scientist Dr. Alina Chan told the Science and Technology Select Committee that it is reasonable to believe that COVID was genetically engineered in China. We're expected to believe that as a pure and happy coincidence in the same area where a laboratory exists that specialises in engineering dangerous coronaviruses and is the only real level 4 biochemical lab in China, that this apparently engineered coronavirus came from some kind of wet market around the corner. I mean, have a day off. China immediately tried to cover it up as well, didn't they? They didn't report when 2 lab workers apparently became ill in November 2019. They changed their ventilation system and put the lab into lockdown. They prevented the World Health Organization from carrying out a proper report and conducting a thorough investigation. And then they played an absolute masterstroke. They ensured that a report published in the Lancet journal rubbishing a lab leak theory actually went out. And this was taken as fact. But let's just delve into that report a little bit, shall we? And specifically, the authors of it. All but one scientist who penned the letter in the Lancet dismissing the possibility that coronavirus could have come from a lab in Wuhan were linked to its Chinese researchers, their colleagues or funders. In fact, the influential journal published a letter on March the 7th last year from 27 scientists in which they stated that they strongly condemned conspiracy theories surrounding COVID-19. Despite declaring no conflicts of interest at the time, it's since emerged that the letter was orchestrated by British zoologist Peter Daszak, president of the US-based EcoHealth Alliance, which funded research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Can you believe that? Sir Jeremy Farrar, as well, a member of SAGE and a director of the Trust, who signed the letter, has also published work with a man called George Gao, who's the head of Chinese Centre for Disease Control and Prevention, whom he describes as an old friend. Another signatory, Professor Linda Saif of Ohio State University, spoke at a workshop in Wuhan in May 2017, alongside both Dr. Shi and Dr. Zhao, organised partly by the Wuhan Institute of Virology. What an unhappy coincidence that is, eh? The latest claims of a Wuhan lab leak have come from Harvard scientist Dr. Alina Chan, as I said before. I mentioned her earlier, didn't I? And she perfectly summed up how in cahoots the Chinese government, the Wuhan lab, and the members of the scientific community are when she said something that we all really know. We know this virus has a unique feature called the furin cleavage site. And without this feature, there is no way this will be causing this pandemic. A proposal was leaked showing that EcoHealth and the Wuhan Institute of Virology were developing a pipeline for inserting novel furin cleavage sites. So you find these scientists, this is what she said, who said in early 2018, I'm going to put horns on horses, and at the end of 2019, a unicorn turns up in Wuhan City. Fantastically put, that, isn't it? She's certainly not the first to suggest a lab leak, by the way. David Asher, who led a task force investigating the origins of COVID, said evidence pointed to a leak from a biological weapons programme at the Wuhan Institute of Virology a little while ago. Look at all of that evidence that I've just outlined there, you know. Does it come as a massive shock to anyone, really, that this may have come from a lab in Wuhan? No, it doesn't, does it? Look, I'll say it. I think it is the China virus. It is the Wuhan flu. And I think China needs to pay for this. Perhaps we were willing to overlook China's total subversion of political freedoms. Perhaps we were willing to overlook the genocide of the Uyghur Muslims, what's happening in Hong Kong, the threat to Taiwan. Are we really going to look the other way when it starts to look overwhelmingly like we're dealing with a potentially man-made virus that has brought the global economy to its knees and killed countless people?